Hey, welcome to Things I Learned Last Night. This is a comedy podcast where we learn stuff and we make some jokes along the way. This week's episode is about a doozy. It's a good time.
It's about a doozy?
Yeah, it's about a guy who was a guide and a mysterious disappearance of a group of people in Colorado. Yeah. So, good times.
Yeah. There's a dollhouse.
What shows you got coming up?
Let's see. It's June 17th. I got a show in Baltimore on the 18th. I'd love to see you there. What if I just start promoting shows that don't exist? Make a website,
fire festivaling people,
have people show up, and I'm like, sorry, I was there. You were just late. It was fast. It was a quick show, 2 minutes and done.
Wow. All right, I don't know if I have any shows coming up, but all my shows are at JaronMyers.com/shows. Let's get to the episode, man. Keep your hands behind your back. You're gonna get tased again. Can we do a number 2 and then we'll do, so I want some fries, a vanilla shake, and I'll do the Israel Swan. And
literally all the employees run out the back. They're like, he knows what we did.
He knows what we did. Things I learned last night.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Alfred Packer?
Alfred Packer.
Packer. Here's a picture of him.
Okay, I like this guy. This looks like, first of all, he'd be played by Christian Bale.
Ooh.
And he's old-timey. So this is the 1800s. This is 1860.
Could be. What about this one might give you more to go on.
Ooh, this guy looks like the bad guy in a movie.
Yeah, I could see that. Alfred Packer.
Are those both the same guy?
Yeah.
Okay, because the first picture, he's got this big, mustache and goatee.
Yeah, big mustache goatee thing.
Yeah, and then a long head of hair. And then this one, his receding hairline has caught up. Well, he looks like a prisoner in this. Is he in prison in this?
I think it's more war. Like he looks like he's a soldier here, and this one he looks like he's a Wild Wild West. Yeah. Wild Wild West boy.
Yeah.
Well, this is at the Wild Wild West.
Sure.
What's that called? Like they have like the Renaissance Fair. Don't they do that for the Wild West? The Westaissance Fair?
Stagecoach. Country Music Festival.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Don't they do they do the Ren Fair for
I feel like there's a version of the Renaissance Fair for the Wild West.
Civil War reenactments?
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he does. Like, in the first picture, he looks very Civil War-y.
You know what's really interesting? I don't know if, well, I mean, you've lived in a few other places now, so I think you probably pick up on this by now. But we moved to Springfield for college. And when I got to Springfield...
You didn't realize that the Civil War happened there.
I didn't realize that the Civil War was real. I thought it was a lie.
Well, yeah, because I guess it didn't happen in Colorado, did it?
No, it didn't happen in Colorado.
You learned about it, obviously.
Yeah, we learned about it. Yeah, I knew. I was not a Civil War denier.
But you didn't. That didn't happen. That's made up.
No, but
you didn't have the battlefields. We went to battlefields on field trip.
Yeah, and they did the reenactment.
Which is kind of weird to walk a bunch of fourth graders through a field and be like, a bunch of people killed each other here.
Picture this.
Over states' rights and nothing else. It was about the fact that the states wanted the rights to be their own boss. And we're like, to do what?
Whatever they wanted.
They wanted their own freedom. To do what?
Freedoms to do what they wanted to do. What did they want to do? Well, tell us what they wanted to do.
Guys, we're going to McDonald's after this.
What was interesting to me was how many people would do the reenactments. Like, because I had heard of reenactments as like something people did.
Yeah.
But I never met anyone in my life who did Civil War reenactments.
Yeah.
I guess technically me and my friends did war reenactments, but we were doing like Iraq war reenactments. I guess now that I think about it, that's kind of what we were doing.
Sure.
I guess I was sitting here making fun of people who did Civil War reenactments, and I'm just realizing I did the same thing, just a different era.
Yeah.
So let me withhold judgment for a second.
Yeah.
And say I'm not weird.
Sure.
But what is a little...
But also they didn't have, like, so I think the war reenactments were a thing, like they didn't have video games to reenact. You know, like right now, like when you play video games, you're, like I played Desert Storm.
Yeah.
When Desert Storm was still happening, by the way, they put out a
That's
Desert Storm video game.
crazy.
Isn't that wild when you think about it? You're
crazy.
like, oh.
Yeah, that is a little insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I haven't thought about
I played Desert Storm while there was a yellow ribbon on the tree out front of our house for my uncle who was in Iraq.
Yeah.
And we were like, I'm also there. You know? I threw my Xbox away every time I died. I was like, well, I guess this game's over. We were rich. So what time does he exist?
Oh, he was born in 1842.
Okay, so that picture was pretty right.
You were right.
1870s?
You were right about that.
Okay.
Yeah. He was born in Pennsylvania, and he was born in Pittsburgh, which never mind. He was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and
which is a really pretty city, by the way. If you've not been.
Pittsburgh is amazing. I love the.
Have you been to Pittsburgh?
No, I just know cities.
I hate them, dude. Pittsburgh's amazing.
I love the tunnel. I love the tunnel you go through, and it comes right into the city. It's just amazing.
Have you watched YouTube videos of that or what?
I might have. I like cities. It's okay. It's not weird to just watch videos of cities sometimes, okay? It's not weird. Yeah. You play RuneScape, okay? You play RuneScape in 2025.
I play in fake cities like Draenor and Ardon and
I build cities
Sears
too.
Village.
I play in fake cities too, but I also play. I explore real cities.
So
one of my favorite pastimes. This is
my favorite VR is I just put the headset on and I go through that tunnel into Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is crazy.
This is so cool. No, I genuinely, this is a genuine thing I do for fun sometimes. So if you want to make fun of me in the comments, I will open up Google Maps and I'll just
Street View.
look around. I'll just look around. Yeah. I'm like, oh, look at this place. Let me find out more about how this is laid out. So I genuinely ask me where you live. Throw in the comments. Ask me where you live. I could probably tell you some stuff about your hometown. If your hometown's a major city. If your hometown's nowhere, then I don't care about it.
Okay.
But I do. But all I can tell you about is about how the city is laid out. I can't tell you anything about the history or the culture. I can just tell you where things are at.
Cool. So
and which
he was born in 1840s. And
yeah, okay. So he was born in the 1840s in Pittsburgh. He says that he had a bitter relationship with his parents, and in his late teens, he moved himself to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Pretty hardcore.
Speaking of Minnesota. So.
Do you have something to say?
No, I didn't. I was just doing what you did earlier. We were just like, here's something that's not relevant at all, and we'll waste 5 minutes of everyone's time. Freaking. Okay,
so he moves to Minnesota and gets a job as a shoemaker.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing about this. Is it's 18. I mean, he's a teenager. He was born at, what did I say, 1842? And so this is the mid 1850s. And this guy moves across the country as a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't understand, because I feel like if you're a teenager today, moving halfway across the country is hard.
Okay.
Like the transit is a lot easier now than it was then. But getting across the country is really hard.
Yeah, but think about Pittsburgh to Minnesota. You go Pittsburgh over to Cleveland City.
Yeah.
Cleveland to Toledo.
Yeah.
Toledo to Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit down over to Chicago area. You know, you just skirt along the Great Lakes essentially.
Yeah.
And then Chicago area up and then over. Or, you know, like I think there's enough stuff along the way.
But here's the thing. In this era,
yeah,
like the railroad was still under construction. And so like the railroad hadn't, and so he's having to genuinely, a stagecoach probably is how he's getting around as a teenager, which I think in this era, people weren't just like, oh, you're a child. It was just like, can you pay me? Okay, I'll take you in my horse to freaking the next.
Yeah, but a
17-year-old
wasn't a child then.
That's also true, I guess.
Full-grown adult. Like,
I guess, like, yeah, they did think that
you got to be going.
If you were 14, you were an adult.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Because they didn't have high school. Used to be college essentially.
Yeah, that's
interesting. Used to end at 8th grade.
That is actually interesting. I didn't think about that. So anyways, so he moves to Minnesota, and then in 1862...
Yeah, man, the kids these days are weak. These 15-year-olds need to get jobs, man. Here's what you need to do. You got a sophomore in high school who's being unruly, doesn't want to fight. You know why they talk back? It's because they're supposed to be genetically and evolutionally supposed to be out of your house. Kick them out. Send them to the rail yard. See where they go. Raise them in the path that they shall go.
Okay. So he's in Minnesota.
You're a dad at this point, probably.
Yeah, I should
when
be.
This episode comes out. I hope.
If I'm not, then that's bad.
Yeah. So you kick your kid out of the house as soon as you hear this episode. He's old enough.
Yeah, he's ready to go. If he's not, that's my fault.
What's the name that you guys chose?
We haven't chose yet. And by the time this episode comes out, we still won't have chosen. We're still trying to figure it out.
Are you really not going to tell anybody until you have this kid?
I'm not even exaggerating to you when I tell you we don't have a choice yet. Like, we don't know what
you're going to meet him first.
Because genuinely, I'm not kidding. We have a list of options, and those options, every time we look at them,
you hate them.
Yeah, like today we have one. Today we have one that we like. Tomorrow we'll hate that one. Like it's oscillating so much.
Okay,
it's too hard to pick it. It's one of those weird things where it's like it feels so important, but it also doesn't matter that much. Because here's the thing. It's just a name. My name is Tim.
Yeah. And you see why that matters. Right? Your name is Tim.
It could be. Here's the thing.
Terry, great job. Great choice. TJ, very cute for a kid. That's great.
Yeah.
An adult, he probably should have just gone by Timothy. He chose to go by Tim.
Yeah. Timothy is pretty dorky. I'm not going to lie. Everyone's all up in arms about Timothée Chalamet and how hot he is and like how Timothy is such a cool name. It's not.
Do you talk about Timothée Chalamet a lot?
Everybody I talk to.
Up in arms
Everybody I talk to.
I walked into Taco Bell the other day and someone was like, Timothée Chalamet is so freaking hot.
And what is the hottest part about him is that he goes by Timothy instead of Tim.
That's so hot.
That's so hot. But here's the thing. What you should be up in arms about is my hairline. Thank you, Walter Goggins. Walton Goggins.
So anyway.
I'm just gogging around.
I know. But he moved to Minnesota.
He moves to Minnesota. And while he's in Minnesota, the Civil War happens. And so in 1962, he enlists to serve in the Civil War. Yeah. And he's
in Minnesota. I don't know if you guys know how that worked, but that was the South versus everyone.
And so 8 months later, though, he's honorably discharged because he has epilepsy, which is interesting because this never comes up again in his life, except for I should say he gets honorably discharged and he's really upset about it. He's like, I really want to fight in this war. And so he goes to Iowa and he enlists in Iowa to serve with the 8th Iowa Cavalry Regiment.
Okay.
And he's there for almost a year before he's honorably discharged for epilepsy.
Is he having seizures? Is that how they?
Yeah, he's having seizures. And so they honorably, they're like, you're not medically fit to fight in this war. And so
yes, I am.
He's like, I just want you guys to let me fight in this war. So, anyways, Civil War keeps happening. He travels west. He's like, I got to get away from this war. He's like, I can't be close enough to this to find out I can't be a part of this.
Yeah.
So he's like, I got to move west. So he moves out west and he just works like odd jobs for like 9 years. He's a hunter. He's a ranch hand, a field worker. He's like transporting stuff on wagon. He's like a trucker, but wagoner, wagoner.
Wagoneer.
They call him wagoner. Wagoneer. Thank you. And so, so he's just doing, he's a gig worker. And then he gets this phone call from a woman in LA who says, I need you to go.
Okay.
No. And so he's honestly a floater at this point. He spends 9 years as a floater. And in the 1870s, gold is discovered in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Okay.
And so
the gold rush.
Kinda. This is in Colorado.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I guess the gold rush was the whole West, I guess. Yeah. So the gold rush kicks off in Breckenridge. They discover the gold. And this guy by the name of Robert McGrew, who lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, finds out about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I kind of want some gold. That's exactly how he said it. And so he got a group of men together at the local saloon and said, you guys, we're going to go get some gold. And so
At the local saloon.
So November of 1873, this group comes together and they say, okay, we're going to go on this expedition to Breckenridge. Okay. But this is the 1870s, so it's literally like horseback travel, right?
Yeah.
And so they depart, they start heading that way, and they come across Alfred in Provo, Utah, and near Provo. And Alfred is like, hey, I know these parts. I've been
I know these parts.
And so he tells them that he's both been a prospector and a guide. He's like, I've taken jobs as a prospector, getting me some gold places. I've also guided people through these mountains. He says, I know this territory super well, and I also can help you like get through this this area. And so he didn't have like any provisions or anything, and so he said, I'll join as a guide. And so they said, okay, it seems like you know your stuff, and so you can take us on the trip. And so they depart through the San Juan Mountains to head to Breckenridge, Colorado to start searching for gold. And the trip doesn't exactly go as they planned. While they're on their journey, remember they left in November, probably the worst time of year for them to decide to make this journey. And as they start to cover some ground, they start to realize that their guide doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. He's making a lot of kind of silly mistakes, and he seems to be kind of mailing it in, like fumbling through where to go and how to do different things in the mountains.
And this is Alfred.
Yeah, this is Alfred.
Yeah.
And
our guiding us through the mountains, he keeps pulling up ChatGPT. Being like, how do I be a guide? Did you see that video or the picture that went viral this week of the doctor in the did you see that?
No.
It was like an urgent care, and the physician is looking up on ChatGPT, and like you can look at his side panel, and he's clearly done it for every other person that's coming that day. He's literally just putting in their symptoms.
Isn't that like a Key and Peele skit? I feel like there's a skit. It was before ChatGPT, but I think it was like they were Googling. It was like the doctor was sitting on, they had their computer like they do where they're taking notes, but he was just Googling like WebMD. I think it was WebMD.
Seems like you have scurvy.
Actually, this says you're dead. Do you feel dead?
This seems like you're dead. All right, I'm gonna report that because you're gonna go to court.
And so they're on their journey, and a lot of questions are starting to rise among the group about their guide's qualifications. Alfred, yeah. And so it's not like severe, but it's like there's some questions raising. Mm-hmm. The severe part about it, though, is that they all find him very annoying. They're like, this guy kind of sucks. The things that we hear is one that he talks really, really loudly. He tells stories that they don't like. He's like, we don't like your stories. And get this, you're not gonna believe this. You're not gonna believe this. They say he has a very obnoxious, high-pitched laugh.
He's doing it now.
One of the party members called him a whiny fraud.
The self-awareness is what I love the most right now. The fact that I don't even have to make the joke. The fact that you're like, get this.
He's
also,
a whiny fraud.
We've already been over it because we showed the pictures. His hairline's receding. And all of his stories, he had way too many details. Said a lot of stuff that didn't matter.
He talked about, he told all the people's names. Didn't have to tell their names.
Didn't have to do
Didn't
that.
have to tell their names.
Has a Bible degree, doesn't use it.
Use it. That's so good.
That's really funny that you have the self-awareness to be like, yeah, I'm annoying.
I'm this guy.
Okay, so what else is happening? So they just generally don't like the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they start to realize...
This is a nice shirt you're wearing today, though.
Hey, thank you. Is that genuine?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Are you trying to... Remember that time you did that bit where you went out and bought my shirt? Are you doing that right now?
I don't know. I might. No, that color doesn't look good on people with my skin tone.
Do we have the same skin tone? Are you trying to say something?
No, mine's a little more yellow.
So dumb.
You guys see what I'm talking about? Anyway.
The winter ended up being a bigger issue for them than I think any of them expected. And so pretty quickly, a lot of their wagons were damaged to the point where they could not progress.
Right.
A lot of their horses got injured to the point where they could not progress. And they were relying almost completely just on their compass for what direction to go. They're like, I guess we need to go east. And so they were just following this east. And Packer, being as inexperienced as he evidently was, they eventually got lost. And they were lost in the mountains. They began running out of food. And they ended up getting to the point where they had to start eating their horse feed. And so feed, not feet. They had to
not horses either, just the feed.
Yeah, they were just eating the horse's feed. Well, they did at one point get to the point where they started considering eating the horses themselves.
Okay.
But they did not actually get to that point. Eventually, they found they came upon an encampment of Chief Ure, which is a Native American camp outside Montrose, Colorado. So they did cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But outside of Montrose, Colorado, they came across this chief, kind of told him the situation they were in. He was super helpful. He's actually known as the white man's friend, is what, like, one of his, I don't know what you call it, attributes or nicknames or something. I don't know. But he took them in, fed them, brought them back to health. And a few weeks later, they were like, we're ready to keep going. And he's like, I don't think you should. He said, we're still like in the deepest part of the winter. And so they kind of argue back and forth for a few days, basically being like, we need to continue. We got to go find the gold. And he's like, you guys aren't going to make it very far. You don't have enough provisions.
Yeah.
You don't have enough experience. Like, you should not continue on this journey. But after a few weeks of it, or not a few weeks, a few days of going back and forth and arguing with them, eventually he lets them go. And in later conversations, he literally says, I got tired of arguing with Packer. And so I let them go.
That's how. Golly, dude, are you reincarnated? What is this?
And so on February 9th, what is this, 2-3 weeks later, on February 9th, they end up deciding, okay, we're going to continue moving.
So they started in November.
They started in November, and now it's February.
Okay.
And they're outside Montrose, Colorado. They didn't make it too far. And so there's Packer and 5 others in the group. Some of the party stayed back. Some of the group was like, we're not going.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, they're like,
that
we're
guy's
good.
Annoying.
That guy sucks.
Imagine being so annoying that people would rather risk the winter with some strangers than continue on with you.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So the group that leaves is Packer and 5 others. So there's Alfred Packer, which, important side note about Alfred that I haven't brought up yet. There's debate, like scholarly debate, on what his name actually was.
Okay.
Because what you see in that's on his tombstone is Alfred.
So he's dead.
I mean, yeah, he was born in
Spoilers.
What you see on his tombstone is Alfred.
Okay.
What you see in a lot of, this might be kind of a spoiler, but in a lot of newspaper articles, you see Alfred. But in a lot of other newspaper articles, you see Alfred. And allegedly, he called himself Alfred. But there's a point late in his life where he starts calling himself Alfred. He also has a tattoo on his back that says Alfred.
I mean, to his credit, though, he can't read that. You know, that's on his back. And so it's like, you know?
That's the thing.
Here's what I think. I think he just has a speech. He just goes, my name's Alfred.
Alfred.
He's saying Alfred, He's going, it's Alfred.
The tattoo artist, also not educated.
And then the tattoo artist who doesn't care is just like, all right, it's a flash tattoo.
They don't have mirrors yet.
Yeah. And he's like, Alf. In the early days of this show, we did like affiliate ads where we were like, hey, sign up for Grammarly and use code TILLN and we got like 15 cents. And now we just do Patreon. It's a much better way. It's better for us as creators. It's better for you as listeners. And it's a much more fun way for us to interact. We do monthly hangouts like on Zoom. We just hang out and play games online and get to know each other. It's a really fun time. So, but still use our code TILLN at Grammarly.com because I think it's still active. We might get like a couple cents from that. Yeah. But join us on Patreon because we're having a great time.
Yeah. If you don't, we're going to have to start doing mobile game ads.
And also, tattoo artist messed up. Dyslexic. They didn't know what that was yet. Back then, they thought dyslexia was just witchcraft.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, you're possessed.
Oh, you're the devil, I think. Yeah. I think you're actually the devil.
Same thing with like left-handed.
Weird to you?
They were like, oh, you're left-handed? Let's cut it off. That's the demons in you.
You must like Satan.
Yeah. So dyslexic demons. And so the guy he just went A-L-F-E and then went,
oh no.
But it's on his back. He can't tell.
Yeah.
R.
And he's like, all right, Alfred, your tattoo's done. He said, Alfred? Yeah, Alfred.
Alfred?
Yeah, he just says it really quick. He's like, I'm not sure if he tells him.
I love when people are bad at their jobs, man.
Alfred comes in and says, hey, I'm Alfred. And he's like, hey, nice to meet you. My name's Tim. And they kind of have a conversation for a little bit. And then Alfred says, yeah, I'd like to get my name tattooed on his back. And the tattoo artist is like, shoot, what is his name?
The tattoo artist was like, okay, I'll do yours if you do mine. And then so Tim turns around and Alfred goes, T-I-B? Did he say his name was Tib? Did he say his name was Tib? Did you just put a B? No, that's the arches of the lowercase m. Oh, okay. That's what I felt. I felt the arches, and then I underlined it. I underlined the M. That's what that is. I made an M, and then I underlined it because that's what it is. All right, Tib. Sorry, did you say Tib? I don't know, Tub. All right. And this is one of those times where Tim can't swallow his drink. You know what I'm saying? So again, when you're listening back, it just sounds like I'm running. It's because I just kind of got to keep going, you know?
It was just that thing where the artist was like, shoot, I don't remember his name. I think it was Alfred or Alfred. He didn't tell me again. Now we've been talking too long for me to ask.
Yeah. I just got to commit. He's never going to read
Alfred.
He's never going to read it.
No, but allegedly, for years, he went by Alfred.
And then changed it to Alfred.
Of life, he started going by Alfred. What it sounds like, the general consensus is that his name was Alfred, but he was not well educated as a kid. So he thought it was Alfred for a long time. And that somewhere along the line, someone was like, hey, Alfred isn't a name, right? And he's like, yeah. That's
what I'm saying. Like, it's the same way that like my wife's whole family calls it Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And she can't quit.
She can't stop doing it.
So really last weekend I was in Illinois and I was like, yeah, I'm just outside of Chicago. And she goes, oh, I forgot you were in Illinois this weekend. Illinois, yeah, with the S. And so, dude, her grandma was literally schooled in a schoolhouse, dude. Like, chill. It's freaking, dude. Her grandma was in like handwritten letters, and she can't spell.
Yeah,
she was literally schooled in the schoolhouse. Mm-hmm, you know,
mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like the 1860s, where it's just like, yeah, that's probably how his parents said it. Alfred, yeah, probably. You know, and he just assumed for his whole life that it's just Alfred. That's how it was. Like that's what I'm saying. If your name is like how you pronounce your name, that's you.
Yeah, and ultimately, it doesn't matter that much. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. You know.
Sure.
So Alfred or Alfred Packer, and then his 5 companions. These are his companions. So it was a guy by the name of George California Noon, who was a teenager at the time.
Yeah.
And then a guy by the name of Israel Swan. Sick name.
Yeah.
Sick name. An elderly dude by the name of James Humphrey, who was rumored to be carrying around carrying thousands of dollars in cash at that time. So basically carrying $1 million on his backpack in his backpack. That's a psychopath. Is like
when you got a tip, you know.
He was like really big on tipping.
I brought cash for tips. Don't worry, guys. He's like tipping the Native Americans. He's like, here you go.
Yeah, he's like, I need to be on this journey. Everyone on the journey has a specific role. You got your hunter, you got your muscle, you've got the guy who's really good at making fires. He's like, I tip people.
I'm generous.
I'm generous.
Oh.
And then Frank Butcher Miller, who was a butcher from Germany.
Cool.
And then this red-haired guy, Shannon Wilson Bell, was the group that they had.
Yeah.
And so they all depart. And
there's a whole wave of, I don't know what it is. There's like Gen Xers who are named like traditionally female names now, I guess. I guess Shannon's more of a woman's name now, right? Shannon can go either way.
Shannon goes either way. Shannon goes either way.
We know plenty of Shannons now that I'm thinking about it, actually. Huh.
I mean, I will say, like, Shannon was one where I didn't know any male Shannons until I became an adult. Same with Terry. I only knew female Terrys. I only knew female Shannons. But the older I get as an adult, I'm meeting more male Shannons.
I only knew male Terrys.
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah.
My high school football coach in my hometown, his name was Joy.
Yeah, that's.
His name was Joy.
That doesn't.
And I'll tell you what, no one ever made fun of that guy because he's huge.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like, like he's football coach big. Like he's.
And he wasn't very joyful.
No, he was great actually. He's like legitimately. He was at my church. He was a really good guy.
Yeah.
But no one. My mom said, because my mom went to high school with him. My mom was like, no one ever made fun of him in high school either because he was big then.
Interesting.
So good for him.
So they left. They left the chief.
Yeah.
And on February 9th. And nobody heard from them until April 16th, 1874, same year. 65 days after they left.
Yeah.
When Packer comes out of the woods alone and walks across a frozen lake bed, super hard, into the Los Pinos Indian Agency, which is near Saguache, Colorado, which I don't know if you know where that is. Like it's like southwestern Colorado. Southwestern Colorado.
Does he claim something happened to these guys? Oh, no.
So this is.
I should have seen this coming.
What?
Nothing. Just tell your ghost stories.
It's not a ghost. There's no ghost.
I know it's not a ghost. Tell your space ghost.
There's no space ghost. Saguache is like not as far south as Alamosa, but it's like near Alamosa.
Here's what I hate. About? I think something interesting is about to happen in this story, and you're spending time being like, here's what it is on the map. Also, these guys, here's their names. And I had a high-pitched voice, and people really hated him for it. You spend so much freaking time, and then you're going to be like, and it's like something happened. We've taken, how long, what's the timestamp right now, Ryan?
Well, to be fair, 15 of those were you doing whatever your thing was.
30 minutes into this episode, and Tim is just now getting. I just want to point out, I have no control here.
So he walks into this agency. He walks in, walks across the frozen river.
Which is very
walks
cool.
out of the room, walks out of the woods, walks across the frozen river. He's carrying a rifle and a knife and a steel coffee pot. I don't know why he's carrying all three of those. He's got a satchel with him. Maybe one of them's in the satchel. Okay. And then he walks into the agency. It's the morning. All the men were there eating breakfast. And he walks in and he stands in front of them, clearly disheveled. And he asks, and he doesn't just ask, he begs for food and shelter. And everyone's like, oh my God, you just come out of the woods? Yeah. And
he's like a woods guy.
Are you a woodsman? Are you one of those? Is this Bigfoot? Okay. Is this the Bigfoot we've been hearing about? And so they give him some food and he starts eating it and he just starts vomiting uncontrollably. And so he says, I can't eat that. He says, do you guys have any whiskey? And they were like, yeah. And he starts drinking a lot of whiskey. Like not just a little bit. He can't keep the food down.
He's like,
he can really slam the whiskey. Sorry,
please.
He's like, I can't eat food. I'm near starvation, so I can't eat, but I can drink. I can still drink. What do you think I am, some sort of coward? And so he gets really drunk.
How old is he in this point? He's like 20.
This is 1874. He was born 1842. So
he's like 30.
Our age.
32.
Picture me.
Yeah.
Walking into this camp.
Chugging some whiskey.
just like, don't give me breakfast, give me whiskey. And so he tells them the story. He says, I was hired by these 5 guys to take them to Breckenridge to look for gold. He's like, I'm a guide. And he said, but while we were on our journey, he had become snowblind. That's what he tells them. He said, I became snowblind. And so then I lagged behind the party because I was like a burden for them. They were like, oh, you're such a burden for us. We're going to leave you in the mountains. It's when so if you're in like a blizzard, the snow, it can give you like temporary blindness.
Jeez.
But it's not like a severe thing. So he became snowblind.
Okay.
And he claims that a member of the party, Israel Swan, gave him his rifle, and right before all the rest of them decided to abandon him, and was forced to survive on his own and make his own way through the mountains.
And the other 5 just went their own separate way.
Yeah, and they just abandoned him with virtually no supplies, just the rifle and a little bit of ammo that he left with him.
Okay.
And he had nothing else to eat, so he was just eating rosebuds the entire time he was alone in the woods, which is a little weird to say was just eating rosebuds because there's like a lot of berries. But I guess it's the middle of winter, so maybe all the berries are not ripe or existent. And so he travels through the wilderness for a little over 2 months, and made his way to this camp. They listened to his story, and they, even as he's telling it to them face to face.
Yeah. And then one guy stands up and goes, I bet if I walk into those woods, I'm going to find 5 dead guys that you killed and left there. I bet that's what, you know what? All right. Does anybody want to take some bets on what's going to happen? I bet that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And so they all immediately hearing the story, they kind of doubted it.
Yeah.
They also thought it was strange because, I mean, this is allegedly like a picture of him right around that time. And it's like, he looks thin, but he doesn't look starving in the wilderness for 2 months.
Well, this is obviously not.
It's not day of.
Yeah.
But it's in that era. And so they think there's some pretty big question marks there. It's also a little questionable why they would abandon him, but be like, here, take my rifle. Because it's like, you would think you would kind of want that if you were traveling through the wilderness. Right. Another thing that's very strange is for the extent of his stay, he stays there for a few weeks. For the extent of his stay, he refuses to eat. He just drinks whiskey for breakfast specifically. And he claimed he was broke. And he had sold the rifle he had in his possession to one of the justices for $10 because he was broke, which $10 at the time, I think that comes out to $270 today. And he stayed there at the agency for 10 days before he then made the journey to the nearby town of Saguache, I think, in hopes of buying supplies to go home to Pennsylvania was what he told them.
Okay.
He gets there to Saguache, and he buys a horse for $70, which is the equivalent of $1,900 to today. So that's a little weird that he had that much money. And then while he's in Saguache, he stays at a saloon, and the owner of the saloon says he spent around $100 there, mostly on drinks.
Okay.
But he also gambled every night, was gambling.
So like $100.
$100 today is like $2,700.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, and he's gambling every single night. And he also offered to the owner of the saloon in Saguache, he offered him to lend him $300. And he also spent a bunch of money at the local general store. He's just like blowing through cash is what the point I'm trying to make.
Right.
And so everyone's like, why does this guy have so much money? And his story is not making a lot of sense. And after a few weeks, he's in Saguache gambling his life away when Preston Nutter shows up in Saguache. And Preston Nutter was a member of the original party that decided to stay behind when they all left with the chief. And he saw him and he was like, hey, he's like, where is everyone else? Did you guys make it? And he said, oh, no. Actually, what had happened was the party had left camp one night. They were going hunting, and I stayed back with Israel's rifle. They left it with me. They went hunting, and they never came back to camp. And he said, I stayed on and waited for them for like a week, and then they never came back. So eventually I went out to look for them. I couldn't find them, and then I came here. And he said, that's crazy. And then he's like, that's one of the other guy's knife. He noticed he had a knife on him. He's like, that's one of the other guy's knife. And he said, well, while I was looking for him, he left it in a tree. It was like stabbed into a tree. So I picked it up. I thought it'd be a useful supply for me. So I picked it up and I kept going.
Okay.
And Preston Nutter is like, that's a weird story. I don't think I believe it.
I bet if I go in those woods, I'm going to find 5 dead guys.
And so he was pretty convinced that Packer was lying to him. And he had spent a couple months with him traveling through the woods. So he knew him pretty well. And so he's in the saloon and he starts arguing with him. Like they get in a pretty fierce argument in this saloon. So eventually that fight happens. He leaves. Nutter leaves, and Nutter's like, I'm gonna find someone who's gonna arrest you. He's like, he looks for the law. He's looking for the law. I'm
gonna find someone who's gonna arrest you. Speaking of arrested, okay. Listen, we've been watching a lot of. Okay, we used to watch Cops all the time, right?
Yeah,
Do you remember Cops
I
in the '90s? Have you seen On Patrol Live? Have you seen this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of the things that we love about On Patrol Live is that it's just like Cops in the 90s, but Cops in the 90s was pre-recorded. So it's like edited together. Yeah. This is On Patrol Live. So people are getting arrested, right?
Yeah, live.
And then the camera guy will back up and one of the cops will leave having arrested this person and then go to the camera and be like, yeah, so what happened here tonight was, and they'll give like a sideline update about what happened. So they'll do like a car chase, pit them, pull them out on the ground, and then be like, yeah, so they broke 100 down I-40 over here. We caught up to him. We did a pit. We pulled him out. He's got some warrants. It's outstanding. And the guy's just back there freaking bleeding from his nose, just like, right? And the cop was just like, yeah, but tonight he's gonna spend some time in the tank, right? The other thing that happens, and this is where it's like freaking dude. This is so many police departments. They pull someone out. They tase them, right?
Yeah.
They get them handcuffed. They do all this stuff. They put them in the back of the car, and they're hyped. Like all these cops are like, "Whoa!" Like,
we got them.
The energy, the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And they open the back door, and they don't have the freaking Miranda rights memorized. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, so
where they
freak the card out.
They're like, "Hey, keep your hands behind your back. You're gonna get tased again. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. And you have the right for that attorney to be present during questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you at no charge.
No charge.
At any point, you can exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand these rights as I have asked them to you? Having these rights in mind, do you want to continue talking now? And like freaking, it's your job. You get tased, you carry a gun, memorize the card. It's not that hard.
That's not a hard one.
Yeah, you know why I know it's not hard? There's nothing on this card. Memorize it, dude.
What a flex that was. Is this really blank? No, you have a right to remain silent.
What if I did? What if I did?
I just happened to have it memorized.
What if I did have the Miranda rights and I was just carrying it with me everywhere?
Just carrying
it's like in my wallet. I hand it to the cop instead of my driver's license. I go, oh, sorry,
wrong one.
I do know my rights, officer. Oh, sorry. No, I'm such a Miranda.
Oh my gosh.
I love that because it was a Cops bit and also I made a Sex in the City joke at the end there.
So, meanwhile, this whole thing's happening. Nutter is mad at him.
I just wanted to do my On Patrol Live bit, dude. I do love that they literally step aside. Like, you get arrested, you're standing there, and then they're like, yeah, so he just robbed this 7-Eleven over here. We caught him, and they'll fully they'll be on the phone with their girlfriend, and the cop will just take their phone and be like, "You can pick him up at the jail tonight," and they'll just hang up. Very funny.
So Nutter's out looking for the law. Nutter's fuming after this.
First of all, I know you haven't named your kid yet.
Nutter? Nutter? Yeah, that's a good one. Let me add it to the list.
Yeah.
And so meanwhile, Alfred, two other guys who were in the original party.
Yeah.
They finally made it to the Los Pinos Indian Agencies, right outside Siguach, where he had originally shown up. And they show up, and while they're there, they kind of tell about their journey, and they're like, oh yeah, and then the group, like half the group left. They went with this guy that was really high-pitched and annoying. They're like, oh, Alfred? And they told the agency people, told these other two the story that he gave them, and they're like, I don't think that's what happened. They're like, I know those 5 guys, they would never just leave one person behind to like die.
Right.
And they're like, we don't really buy that story. And so they start getting together a group of people to go try to see if they can figure out what actually happened.
Sure.
Long story short, the General Adams, the leader of that agency, he goes and he gets Packer and he says, hey, we have a lot of questions about what's happening. Your story's not really adding up to us. Here's some whiskey. And they said, can you take us to where you left all the people, like in where the separation happened? And he was like, yeah, sure, I could take you there. And so they set out on the journey back into the woods. And it very quickly starts to become apparent to them that he's not a guide. He has no idea what he's doing out here. And he has no idea where he's going. And they're like, we don't think that there's a place he's taking us. Like he's just wandering around the woods. And so they are like, okay, I think we're done here. You can go back to town. And they're like, we're going to get together a search party to find these people. Because we think we're looking for bodies, like you said. So they start looking. Eventually, they do find 5 bodies in the wilderness. This is a photo.
Yeah.
Of all of them are out.
But they're like torn apart?
Yeah, they're shredded. And so they come back and they say, hey, we found...
Yeah, they're shredded, dude. Just so you know, the drawing he shows me is bodies literally ripped in half. It's a drawing. It's not a picture. It's like literally skeletons and like top halves of bodies, bottom halves. And then he just goes, so they go back to town and they go, hey, like, okay, like the search party's found 5 bodies. They come back to the Packer and they go, so we saw the bodies. And Packer's like, you saw the
bodies? Oh.
Which half?
Which part did you see? Which one?
So what does Packer say to this? So I'm so glad we're talking about this instead of Pittsburgh right now.
So he says, okay, well, what actually happened was that we were on this journey and then a blizzard came and a blizzard stranded us. Yeah. And he said, and we ran out of supplies and we started to starve. And he says, Israel was the first to die. And when Israel passed away, things got a little frantic. And so people started kind of having the discussion of, do we eat Israel? Do we go hunting? Do we do whatever? He says, we couldn't bring ourselves to eat Israel. So we all said, okay, let's go out and hunt. And we ended up deciding to go out and hunting. Now,
but why are they believing this story?
Well, I don't know if they're believing it.
Okay.
But he said we needed to go out and go hunt. And so we took turns hunting. I was out hunting. And when I came back, 3 of the other men were dead. And Shannon covered in blood. He's like, I don't know who did this. Shannon was cooking them, as he said. He said he was cooking chunks of them. And he said, when I came back to camp, Shannon charged me with a knife. So I shot him and I killed him. And he said, and I stayed there at camp for a couple days, waiting for the storm to pass. And he said, and I didn't want to consume any of them. But he said, but in desperation, he says, your mind goes to dark places. And he said, I didn't think I was going to make it without it. So I did. And I started cooking up pieces of them and eating them. And they were like, oh, so you didn't tell us where they were because you ate them. And he said,
that's why he couldn't keep food down. He was sick because he ate
he ate a bunch of people. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening to Things I Learned Last Night. Just so you know, we got a new merch line coming out for this summer. So you've been working on that summer bod and you want to show off how ripped you are, you can get a small t-shirt from us. Or if you've not been working on that summer bod, why don't you check out our 2X selection? So we do have some really cool designs. I'm actually really proud of them. We got like a honking and bonking shirt. We've got just regular Things I Learned Last Night. These are, listen, we don't make a ton of money from this show. This is literally to help cover our expenses, which, like microphones and Alex. And so thanks for supporting our show.
And so he stayed there in the mountains for a few weeks, eating the rest of the party, eating the other 5 guys.
Which, wow, I was going to go there for lunch, but not now.
That's where they got their name. A lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that. It's about this horrific incident in Colorado where 5 men lost their lives. Jeez, dude. Genuine Idaho potatoes, though.
Great branding. And so
Gosh, I'm so hungry I could eat 5 guys.
I could eat 5 guys. Yeah, next time you go to 5 Guys, just bring up one of these names. Just go there and be like, man, I'm so hungry I could eat Israel Swan. Everyone in there, you watch every chef. Just be like,
can we do a number 2 and then we'll do, so I want some fries, a vanilla shake, and I'll do the Israel Swan. And,
literally all the employees run out the back.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, he knows. He knows what we did.
He knows what we did.
The employees, every employee of 5 Guys is a descendant of Alfred Packer, and they all still feel guilty about this.
Okay.
So they arrest him through his trials.
They arrest him.
Through his trials, he goes through a number of different... What are you doing? Oh, the Miranda rights.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to that attorney being present during questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be assigned to you without charge. We know you did it. No need to hide it. We can smell the body on your breath. We can see that you clearly don't floss and you've got the bones in your teeth. And no, not the teeth that are your bones. Those are bones. But we can see additional bones in your teeth. We know you did it. Do you understand these rights as if I have read them to you? Do you wish to answer our questions still? Quick question. Did you
rights were different than
kill those people? So we got him. We got him. So this guy ate 5 people.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
And so,
speaking of eating though, I'm starving right now. We got to wrap this up.
And so now he goes to trial, and in trial he tells a story, and in trial he tells a different story. And in the story, they're starving. Everyone's trying to decide if they should eat somebody, and nobody's dead yet. And then Bell is like, I'm going to eat Noon. And so Bell kills Noon. And then Packer then kills Bell in self-defense because he's like, you're going to kill all of us if I don't kill you. And then after killing Bell, they went scouting, and then he killed everybody else. I don't know.
This whole thing, just so you know, this is the premise of Yellow Jackets on Showtime. I don't know if you've seen the show, but that's what this is.
Yeah. And so, in long story short, he tells another...
Have you seen Yellow Jackets?
No.
You know what it is?
No,
it's that 90s soccer team. It's a soccer team in the 90s, a high school soccer team. It's both
timelines.
It's Lost and cannibalism. That's it. It's Lost in the fact that the show doesn't know where it's going either, to be honest.
They're
just finished this last season, and we literally, at the end of the season, we were just like, all right, that was a waste of my time.
They don't know what the end
They
is.
don't know what they're doing. They just know they had a good idea of like, what if the soccer team's eating each other? And then they were like, that'll crush for 7 seasons.
The writers were at their kids' soccer games. They're like, what if these kids ate each other?
Eat each other. Rah. Rah. Yeah. And they're like, let's run it.
Let's run it. And so they go through the whole trial. And
Shay's gonna or whoever is running this no context TILLN They're gonna post that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Whoever it is, I'm not gonna say.
So they go through the whole trial. They find him guilty. They convict him to be hanged. And by this time, this is like sensational news.
Yeah.
The Denver Post is writing about it every day, and plaques get put up all around, not just Denver, but the state. Oh wait, sorry, wrong one. There could not have been a better no context slip than that slip. Oh my God.
Was that a genuine accident?
That was a genuine accident. I was going to show you that later. Yikes. Oh, I'm crying. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so plaques. Man. Oh, for the audio listener, so sorry. He was trying to pull up a map, and then he accidentally, just go ahead and show it now. It's the golden plaque that says the Alfred Packer Memorial Grill.
It also says Alfred.
Yeah, in memory of Stan Weston.
Yeah, I don't understand who Stan Weston is.
Stan Weston's apparently a 3-year-old.
Yeah, this is like way. I don't think he's related to this event, honestly.
The Alfred Packer Memorial Grill. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is literally, I'm not exaggerating. This is on the original Five Guys. This plaque is sitting on the original Five Guys.
So stupid.
No, so they put this plaque up around town.
Accidentally showed me that one.
Inviting people to go to the execution.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy, dude. You are like, this looks like a wedding invite that says you are respectfully invited to attend the execution of Alfred Packer at Lake City, Colorado on the 19th day of May, AD 1883. Please check chicken or beef.
And so
RSVP. Wait, what was the day of the execution? 19th of May. Oh, I thought it said 13th of May. I would for sure be like, you're the reincarnated.
You're the reincarnated Alfred Packer. And so
file your teeth down so you can't chomp me.
Luckily, just before he's
like, guys, I'm Alfred.
Just before
you can't execute me. I'm not Alfred. I'm Alfred.
This is really interesting. His lawyers, right before he was supposed to be executed, realized that the laws that they found him guilty under were laws that became laws when Colorado was established as a state. But what had happened when he did his crimes, Colorado was a territory, and so those laws were not in effect. And so it was like this weird.
Okay, no. Actually, it's a territory. You can eat people in a territory. That's for sure.
So they overturned his murder charge, but it didn't like spare him of like being responsible for their deaths. And so instead, he was charged with manslaughter, and then got charged to, I think it was 12 years in.
So he didn't get executed.
So yeah, so he wasn't going to be executed now because it wasn't murder charges, and he could not be charged for murder now. But instead, it was manslaughter, and he gets sentenced to 40 years in prison. And so he goes to prison
because they don't know the territory. You don't get that joke.
No,
don't laugh like you get it.
I was laughing at
you.
You.
No idea
I was laughing at you being dumb. What's it from?
Oklahoma the musical.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Sorry.
What do you talk? What do you talk? But he doesn't know the territory. But he doesn't know the territory.
This is me not laughing at you.
Thank you. But I'll tell you what. There's some, and I was going to call you a nerd, but let's be real. There's a musical nerd out there who enjoyed that one. Danielle.
Yeah. So in let's see, he was
doesn't know the territory. No, it's not. Not Oklahoma. Stupid Jaron. Come on, that's Music Man. Wow. I was just so ready to show you and put you in your place.
So in 1885, his murder conviction was overturned. In 86, he was convicted on the 5 counts of voluntary manslaughter, sentenced to 40 years, which was 8 years for each person.
Okay.
And so he then turned in for prison, went to prison, and while he was at prison, he stayed at, let me see if I can give you the prison he stayed at. Doesn't matter. Look, we talked about this. Doesn't matter.
Thank you.
While he's at prison, he falls in
For
love.
everyone listening, where he just goes, we talked about this. I've been trying. When we're not recording, I go, Tim, quit giving me unnecessary details. Just tell the story. No one cares about your kid. Quit talking about your life outside the story. I've been trying.
Okay, so while he's in prison, he falls in love with the warden's daughter. And during rec time.
Well, I was reading the poem and it led me to believe that the warden's daughter was the treasure.
So
why is the warden's daughter around enough? You know?
This is take your daughter to work day every day.
What's she doing near the prison that this guy is like...
The 1890s, you know. It was the 90s. It's a good thing I'm not the Pope. Whoa, stop that.
He's a cannibal.
So he falls in love with her, and during rec time, he builds her this dollhouse.
How old is the warden's daughter?
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't found a description of how old she is. So we're just going to... But he builds her a dollhouse.
What's the weird stuff on the floor? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a picture. I don't know if you guys know.
No
Those look like they're from the Haunted Mansion, and they look like they follow you, dude. So for anyone listening, the dollhouse is like this... I mean, it's a big like...
dollhouse.
It looks like a, like an 1800s like mansion, the 2-story... But it's labeled child's dollhouse.
Yeah.
Which makes me worried.
I don't think she was a child. I think he made it as here's
where our
future
kids,
child. Yeah, I think
which
that was
is
the
like
idea.
the nether level of weird too.
Also weird. Weird.
Is there's a doll in the corner? Do you see the doll in the house? Because that's spooky as heck. On the first floor?
Yeah, hold on. I actually feel like I've seen another picture now that
Please
I'm thinking about it.
don't do anything scary. Please don't. I don't want to do it. Like, what are you about to pull up?
I'm not pulling up anything scary. Don't worry. I would never scare you. I would never scare you.
You're going to pull up Chucky and be like, oh, look.
I think this is, yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's him. I'm like 90% sure it's a doll version of him that he put in the house.
Shut up.
Yeah. So it's like one day he'll be out of prison and this will be our home together, I think is the idea. And so here he is.
You're serious.
Dead serious.
Wait, go back. Yeah, that's the doll.
Yeah.
In the corner.
Yep. That's him. That's 100% him. He makes himself a doll to put in the dollhouse to be with him. And
dude,
let me tell you,
people are like, whoa, you're really messed up to take your first date on stage in front of an audience. This guy built a dollhouse and a doll of himself and then gave it to the warden's daughter
at the prison
and was like, you know what?
40 years at.
That's what makes me think, it's like, hey, when you're 56.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's not weird because he has to wait till he gets out of prison.
Yeah, I guess.
So
what was the warden's daughter's response?
Well, the warden finds out about this and he gets parole in 1901.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he ends up getting parole. And I don't know if it's because of the dollhouse, but he makes the dollhouse and then he gets parole in 1901. Way before his sentence was supposed to end.
Right.
Like 30 years before his sentence.
Does he end up with the warden's daughter?
He served 18 years of his 40-year sentence. So 22 years early, he gets parole.
Okay.
And he moves to Littleton, Colorado. And meanwhile, this whole thing is happening. The Denver Post, there's a specific...
How about the warden's daughter? Did he end up with her?
No, he did not end up with her.
Thank goodness. I was just so nervous that it was going to be like, yeah, the warden was like, I mean, like, what am I supposed to do? He made a dollhouse.
What am I supposed to do? He made her a dollhouse. That's the law.
That's the law in this territory.
That's the Miranda rights. His daughter's name is Miranda.
You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to marry my daughter if you make her a house that's suitable for a doll, but you also have to include a doll that looks like you, but can't look too much like you, but definitely has to be noticeably you. Do you understand these rights if I've read them to you? This card is empty. I had that memorized.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there was a writer by the name of Pry. I don't know her first name.
Okay.
Or that might be her first name. I don't know if that's her first name or last name. I do have a picture of her though.
Heck yeah.
She really believed that Alfred was framed. He wasn't actually a cannibal. And she wrote about it all the time.
It's the only thing she could write about.
Yeah, it's the only thing they let her. And so she wrote all the time about how he's not actually a cannibal. He just had a hard time in the mountains, and we've wrongfully imprisoned this guy. So he moves to Littleton.
Based on literally nothing.
Yeah, literally.
Just based on her being like...
vibes.
Seems like that's not true.
Seems like he didn't do that. So
he moved there and was like, I know one gal who will kiss my mouth.
Yeah, but she doesn't. Nothing happens there.
Oh, okay.
He ends up moving to Littleton, Colorado, but he becomes a vegetarian.
Yeah, because he can't even.
Yeah, people get real stressed when they see him eat meat.
They're like, I don't know. He's like, guys, just broccoli. Just broccoli.
But the broccoli looks strangely like human flesh.
Yeah. The broccoli is crying for its mom. And please save me, mom. It's like it's a kid's arm painted green.
Yep.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
On a forearm.
So
you know what I'm talking about? You get it?
So he goes back. He lives out the rest of his days in Littleton, working odd jobs, just kind of living a regular life, being a vegetarian, you know. And then he dies in 1907 at the age of 65. The cause of death on his birth certificate is
the Warren's daughter didn't return my love.
Literally, trouble and worry is the official cause of death on his death certificate. A lot of people think that it was dementia. But they put trouble.
They just didn't know what to call that back then.
They just didn't know what that was.
He seems really troubled and worried. Where am I? Oh, he's so troubled and worried.
That trouble and worry.
What was ironic was that that's why he was lost in the woods too.
Because he was troubled and worried the whole time.
Early dementia.
And so
dude, that's my biggest fear, dude. Like having dementia.
Yeah.
And not being able to remember stuff. Like that's just that's my biggest fear, I think.
Yeah, it's same.
Gosh, that felt so good.
I hate you so
that
much.
Was incredible.
So
that was so good because you guys aren't close enough to see it click in his eyes. You know where he went. Yeah, same. Oh, gosh, he's so troubled and worried.
I'm so troubled and worried right now. So
I'll tell you what, that would have been my MySpace status. Jaron Myers is troubled and worried.
He dies.
That would have been my 2014 acoustic band name.
Troubled and worried.
Trouble and worry.
So he dies.
Ladies and gentlemen, next, the duet, Trouble and Worry. And it's just me and some girl that has a crush on me and my acoustic guitar.
Some girl who has a crush on me. And she has no talent. Not good.
And I didn't know she had a crush on me because I was naive and kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And I liked someone else who was never. Here's the other thing I realized too, dude. I was looking through my old Facebook, looking through my Facebook status and old photos. Yeah. And back then I was like, damn, man, why don't these girls like me? And now I'm looking back and being like, brother in Christ. That's why. Are you serious? Of course they didn't. I don't.
I'm me.
I'm troubled and worried by my past self. My time hop is my greatest enemy. It's like for real, dude. I read my old posts and I'm like, oh no. Of course JC didn't like you back, you idiot. She was a mature person and you were posting things like you were posting stuff like, get behind me, Satan. You'll never break me again. All right, sophomore in high school, Jaron.
Yeah.
You were posting stuff like, put my glass in a jar and left it on the shelf to get dusty.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Didn't know then either. I was just troubled and worried. Trouble and worry. Here comes acoustic guitar, Jaron. And like, I don't know why she doesn't like me back. And then the girl who is in love with me is singing, like me back, you know?
Yeah.
Man.
But she's off key.
Yeah. Like me back. You know? Wow.
So he dies. And when he dies...
Fiddle off, huh?
No. He dies and they bury him. They end up having to concrete his grave because everyone keeps digging into it because it's this weird mix of people who are trying to find something, but also people who are trying to vandalize his grave.
Oh, they gave him the white veteran tombstone, though.
Oh, he served.
What's the coins about?
I'm going to be honest, I have no idea. People just leave quarters for him, I guess.
Looks like pennies.
Yeah. Leave a penny for the Packer.
Okay.
I think that's what they say. Leave a penny for the Packer or he'll eat you in your sleep.
In your sleep? Golly.
But yeah, so they had to concrete over it because people kept breaking into it. This is in Littleton, Colorado.
Okay.
And that plaque, this is actually at CU Boulder. They years ago had the opportunity to rename their student cafe, and this is what the students voted for.
That's the mistake that colleges make, dude. Colleges allow students to vote for stuff, and then the students are like, this is really funny.
It's really funny. And so they made the slogan, and I don't know if the school knew this, but the slogan that the students selected was, hold on, let me read it so I get this right. The slogan was, have a friend for lunch.
Wow.
I love it. And then they also opened up a museum in his honor, I guess, remembering him. So that's where the dollhouse is from. There's also this wax figure of him.
That is absolutely terrifying.
I love it. And then that's where we get all the other
the
paintings,
wax figure guy. Go back. This guy does look like he's on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great with the red knife. That's so Halloween-y.
But yeah, and then we've got all the other photos and stuff are from that museum.
Wow.
And here's a map of their journeys
that
they went on.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's not that funny. He killed 5 people. Which is
he also made this.
Which is also the number of people Jack the Ripper killed. Did you know that?
Really?
5 victims.
And we call him a ripper for that?
That's what I'm saying.
That's more like
the most notorious serial killer, but it's like, dude, this guy killed and ate 5 people.
And we don't know him.
Yeah.
Nobody knows him.
Well,
yeah, except for everyone here now.
Yeah. Brings a whole new meaning to pack a lunch, huh?
So yeah, that's Alfred or Alfred. I think let's
Packer.
stick with Alfred. I think Alfred is cooler.
Alfred Packer.
Put that in the show notes.
Wow. Well, if someone's coming at you and they're going, first of all, just punch them in the mouth. Then second of all, you look them dead in the eyes and you say, you fiddle off.
All right.
You fiddle off.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you liked it, you can check out the Kamar Daban incident. It's another story of a group of hikers that got lost in the mountains, and spoiler alert, they all died. So good fun, family fun for you to listen to. Very enjoyable. You should check that out. And if you want to see more TILLN, you can see next week's episode right now by becoming a Patreon supporter. Our Patreon supporters, they get a lot of great perks. And Jaron wants to tell you that you're not missing out if you're not a Patreon supporter, but I'm going to tell you are missing out. So let's see you over there on Patreon.
No, I don't like advertising.
You're missing out on.
I'm
going to be honest with you.
Want to join? That's great, but you don't feel like you have to. I don't want you to feel
Yeah.
like you have to spend money.
If you don't, you're going
if
to
you
be
did.
really sad. Honestly, the reason you feel the way you feel is because you're not a
Overspending is
Patreon
bad
supporter.
for you, but it's cool if you do it.
But it's cool if you do it for us. It's cool if you do it with our stuff. Anyways, yeah, become a Patreon supporter or don't. Who cares? But also make sure you like and subscribe because that's important, and we really
That's
care if you
free.
do
That costs you nothing,
That costs
and
you
you not
nothing.
doing it actually makes me mad.
That actually makes you like a bad person, I think.
Comply.
Morally, comply.
Or Tim will eat you. Ah!
Anyways, we'll see you next week on Things That Happened Last Night.
This is an Evergreen podcast.